Wouldn't you like to know 3 things about the single biggest group of home buying consumers right now? I think you would. Why don't you stay around? Let's have a chat. I'm Katie Whalen, Phoenix area realtor. I want to talk to you about this huge group of people that are looking for homes right now. Whether you are a realtor or a real estate adjacent, maybe you're in insurance or lending or title or possibly inspections and services. This information could be very, very important to you. So why don't we just get into it? What are we here to talk about today? First of all, who are the millennials and why are they important? So let's start at the very beginning. Who are millennials? Well, as marketers, we generally like to put consumers into big, recognizable, identifiable groups. By doing so, we can analyze consistent behaviors, and that helps us create and market great products that fill their needs and wants. A great lens that's incredibly consistent, and it's used across pretty much every business in the United States, are using generational labels, which is theoretically grouping consumers by their age. In today's marketplace, there are 5 generations that are considered in the home buying phase of their lives. The silent generation, born before 1946, the baby boomers, born between 1964. Wonder who we know that might be a baby boomer. There's Gen X, Gen Y, and the star of our conversation today, the millennials. Millennial generation was born between 1981 and 1996, which makes them just about 26 to 41 years old, more or less. This generation of folks graduated from college in and around the Great Recession of 2005 and 2007, and that has greatly impacted their careers. It actually has impacted all the decisions of their lives because they were getting out of school and the jobs they had hoped for and planned for and studied and prepared for might not have been available. But they had to take some kind of job because they were saddled, many of them, with student debt. The only choice they had then was to postpone important life events, things like getting married and buying their first home. They became renters, they became hard workers, and they became students of the economy in many, many ways. And right now, that group of people, which represents 22% of the total United States population, is just about 72 million folks who are either renting right now, and of the renters, 95% of them say the cost of renting is too high, or they're in the group that's about 35% that say we want to have long-term financial stability and they want to buy a home. So for all of these reasons, even at today's kind of crazy interest rates where they're bouncing around between 6 and 7%, and who knows what the future holds, so there'll be more changes, we know that for sure. But these folks are sick of renting, they don't want to pay high rents anymore, so they are looking for houses, and we need to be ready to market to them. And now we need to really think about what they want. Well, remember, this generation is the very first generation to grow up completely immersed in social media. Some marketing organizations call millennials the iPod generation, and that's not a mistake. These are people, think about if you grew up in the 80s, you had a Walkman, but if you grew up in the aughts, you had an iPod and then, of course, an iPad. So these consumers are very, very visual. They do 99% of their home research. The home they want to buy, they're going to do on their computer, their smartphone, their iPad, and actually not at all looking at paper listings or even talking to their agent. So they want perfection. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody should want the very best they can possibly afford. And sometimes our job is helping them understand the trade-off of a perfect home versus continuing to rent while you figure out how you might be able to consider buying that home, being able to, and when and if that perfect home ever comes to the market. So while perfection is unattainable for many, many, many of us, what we can do is talk about that as an okay goal. What's wrong with wanting to have perfect and to be perfect? But it's just the consequences of not finding that. And how do we make people understand that there are trade-offs, and those trade-offs are still going to get them to the ultimate goal, not be renting, have a plannable financial future, and something that's going to pay you back in the long run. And now, how do we market to them? And it's actually simple and complex at the same time. The simple part is we meet them where they are. We must be on the platforms and in the digital space that they're in. They're very tech savvy. We've got to go there and find them. And when we find them, we have to have beautifully produced videos. We have to have really meaningful content that we send in Instagram, here on YouTube. We're texting, DMing constantly, letting them know what's going on. We've got to meet them where they are. Remember, 99% of these consumers are going to do all of their homework without you. So you need to go where they are, and you need to do it digitally. The kind of information you need to send isn't just about houses, but in this age range, we must be talking at a very micro level about lifestyle and neighborhoods. Neighborhood is going to be a major, major, major factor, and it's going to contribute to that need and desire for perfection. So you need to show what it's going to be like to live there. What's it like to walk around on a Saturday morning? Who's out walking their dog at 5 a.m.? What is it like to go to the local coffee shop? I mean, some of these things sound really simple, but sometimes simple, when it is authentic, is the most important kind of message to deliver. So a ton of neighborhood content and sending it directly to your client, that is going to be key. And the other thing that we have to always remember is that even though we might want to send something and get a response, this is not necessarily a group of consumers who are going to constantly be engaging back. So we need to just keep giving them lots and lots of meaningful content and help them feel good about the purchase that they eventually will be ready to make. Perfection is really a point in time, correct? And hopefully at the end of the process, you're going to find your millennial client an incredible home that's perfection for them and satisfaction for you. So if you found this content helpful, even just a little, please do subscribe and hit the bell. Please know too that I can't wait to hear from you. All of your comments are really important. Positive, negative, bring it all on. All we want to do is get better and better and better and bring you more and more content that's interesting to you. So for now, I'm going to sign off. Thanks so much for checking in. I hope we talk again soon.